Semifinals are over. We are heading for the conference finals now. Hold on, gotta adjust the camera. Alright, that's a little bit better, I think. First series I want to talk about here is the Miami-New York series. This is the one that I wasn't really able to watch. Being in a completely different time zone means that the West Coast games are on at like 7 a.m. my time here, but the East Coast games are on at like 4 in the morning for me, so I don't really watch much Eastern Conference sports anymore. But Miami, New York, I think I pegged New York for this one. But Miami wins this one in 6 games. New York wins game. They win game 2. And they win game 5. Now this, to me, is really the story of Jimmy Butler versus Jalen Brunson, and a matter of who had the better supporting cast. Right now, like, Jimmy Butler is one of the best players in these entire playoffs. Since the first round, he's been so consistent. Just an absolute beast round 1. The underdogs against the Bucks, beating them. Now he comes here, continues being hot. To the second series against the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, he was been a monster as well. But the problem was, I mean, like I said, this series was about 2 superstars going head to head. But then the supporting cast made the difference, and he did a much better supporting cast. Max Stress came up big this series. Bam Adebayo, of course. But I saw there's this thing here about Jalen Brunson. So this one is about the Game 6 that just happened. In Game 6, Jalen Brunson had 41 points, which led both teams in scoring. The game they lost by 4. But the problem was, every time he sat, it was a problem. And his supporting cast was a problem. So Julius Randle, RJ Barrett combined to go 4 for 24 from the field for 26 total points. Julius Randle and RJ probably the 2 and 3 on that team behind Brunson. They had 26 points together. Butler by himself had 24 points. And I'm not sure if it was this game. I'm trying to see. But there's one of the games where I think Brunson played 42 minutes. I think it was 42 minutes. I think he only sat for 6 minutes. Maybe 12, 48 minutes. Yeah, so he played 42. But I think during that 6 minutes he was sitting on the bench, because you can't play a star, you can't play a player the entire game. I think he went on something like a 7-0 run or a 9-0 run, something like that. And, that's just not going to cut it. So this game really came down to your supporting cast. Let's see. So this is about game 5. Yeah, he played played all 48 minutes in Game 5, and that's the game they won to force the Game 6. They won that one by 9. In Game 6, the Knicks were up 7, 9:55 left in the second quarter. He sat down at that point, and then the Heat goes on a 7-0 run to tie the game. In 2 minutes. All that happened in 2 minutes. New York had 4 possessions, didn't score at all in them. So that's pretty frustrating. Let's see. This is the first series in which both teams shot below 31% from beyond the arc. Priority number 1 for the Knicks association could be finding more shooting to combat Brunson. Yeah, I definitely think what's interesting though is of all the teams that lost in this round, looking through the reaction by fans, Knicks fans are the only ones that are like not completely depressed, down in the dumps, ready to blow it all up. I mean, when we talk about the Sixers next, contrast that with Sixers fans who are ready to trade every single player on their team. The Knicks still have a promising future, basically as long as they have Jalen Brunson on contract. Now there's some talk about moves. Obviously Brunson needs to get some shooting around him because the game plan in Game 6 basically was double Jimmy, double Jalen. But with Jimmy shut down, there was other dudes who could produce. When Jalen was shut down, there just wasn't. So, but Knicks fans are basically talking about that they need to make like one move. Doesn't need to be a big splash. Get a shooter, maybe get a big man. I saw some people talking about trading Julius Randle for Karl Anthony Towns, but I don't know. There's a couple things I kind of want to talk about generally about the NBA right now. One of them is going to be when we get to the Phoenix Suns, but it'll kind of go back to this. So I'm going to put an earmark on this conversation about trading for Cat, and then I'll return to this when we get to talk about the Suns. Yeah. I think that's all I have to say about this series. I don't really have much to say. Like I said, I didn't really watch any of these games, but Jimmy Butler has been an absolute dominant force through these playoffs. And I think, man, as an 8 seed, this has been an incredible run for the 8 seed. Beat him in 6 games. Knicks for the 5 seed. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna pause here because I want to basically pull up stats and clips and stories and stuff about each series before I talk about it. So this is the one I'm going to have the least to talk about. So I'm going to pause here, then we're going to come back to talk about Celtics Sixers. So I want to start this segment of the video, the Sixers Celtics segment, by talking about something that really has bugged me, and I'm probably going to talk about it in my NHL Round 2 recap as well. And it's something I've noticed for a very long time with sports fans. And it's that when a team loses, especially when your team loses, fans of that team talk about what the team did not do. They say, oh, these guys didn't do this, they didn't make this adjustment, they didn't care enough. That's usually the worst one. They didn't want it bad enough. It's always about the negatives surrounding the team you support, and it is hardly ever about what the other team did do. A lot of sports fans seem to have this issue where they forget that there's a team on the other side of the ball, puck, what have you, and that he's allowed to drop plays and make adjustments just like their team is, etc., etc., etc. Time and time and time again, I see sports fans talk, make these sort of statements about their team like they are playing against themselves. And it's absurd and it's frustrating. Now, I say that just to immediately contradict myself because I feel like this is an instance where we need to talk about things a team did not do. The Sixers series, specifically, this last game, this Game 7, this was an extremely competitive series. I pegged the Celtics to win this series, but after game 5, I thought the Sixers might take it. The Sixers had the MVP, Joel Embiid. They came out, they won game 1 without him off of a monster James Harden performance. They had, Harden had 45, Maxey had 26 in that first game without Joel Embiid. Right? That was huge. That moment was really when I was like, okay, maybe the Sixers could take this. Then it was weird, Embiid comes back. Game 2, Embiid comes back from injury, and the Sixers lost. And then they lost again. They lost back-to-back games when they finally got Joel Embiid, their MVP, back, which was very weird. It didn't make sense. Like, well, they just got their best player back. Game 2, they got blown out. Game 3 was a little bit more respectable, but still a 12-point loss. And like, man, did Joel Embiid make this team worse? Did something change? Game 4, the overtime gets forced. Sixers win by 1, then they take a Game 5. Right, right, maybe they had the momentum. Now it's 3-2. It's 3-2. And then Game 6 happens, and the Sixers are winning. The Sixers are winning. I think it's, let me go to the, let's see, trying to get, so it's 40-73 to, I think they're leading by, I'm just trying to go to the Game 6 chart to remember what was happening. They were leading by, where was it? Philly was leading by 5 going into the 4th. Just before the 4th, Philly was leading by 5. And according to the win probability chart, they had a 73% chance to win. Not a definitive thing by any nature, but 73% chance to win, leading by 5 going into the 4th quarter. And I thought, a lot of people thought, like, alright, the Sixers are going to take it. They'll hold on, they'll take it. And then something changed. The 4th quarter, they get outscored by 11. They only scored 13 points in that 4th quarter, which is a quarter low that will shockingly be eclipsed in Game 7. But that entire 4th quarter, Harden and Embiid's body language was bad. They were walking up and down the court. They weren't pushing the pace. They gave the game away. The Sixers were in position to win Game 6 and the series. And they gave it away. They gave that game away. And then Game 7 happens. And this is why I'm saying that this is why I needed to make that previous statement about the things fans do and say, and how I disagree with it, to say the Sixers should have won this series. They could have won this series. But they didn't do enough. This is on them. Especially Game 7, that's on Embiid. That is on Joel Embiid. In Game 7, the 76ers scored only 8 points in the third quarter. The Game 6 reports were talking about Brian Windhurst goes out there and he says the Celtics found a way to survive Game 6. They're talking about the Celtics like they were on their last leg. The Sixers have the control of the series. Excuse me, they scored 10 points in the third quarter, but I think the last 2 points came like right at the end of the quarter or something. There was a huge stretch of that third quarter. Let's see. In the third quarter, with 11 minutes, 31 seconds left in the third, the game is tied at 55-55. Right, 11 minutes, 31 seconds. 7 minutes later, 4 minutes, 30 seconds left in the third quarter. The Philadelphia 76ers have 58 points, so they scored 3 points in 7 minutes. The Boston Celtics have 79 points. The Celtics went on a 24-3 run in a 7-minute stretch. And the thing is that Game 6 that the Celtics stole, Tatum was bad. He started off 0 for 15 or something like that. This game, he was the best player on the floor for either team. He outplayed the MVP. 51 points, 17-28 from the field, 11-14 from the free throw line. And let's look at the box score. You have Joel Embiid. He is the reigning MVP. 38 minutes, 5 for 18 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, 5 for 6 from the line, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks, 4 turnovers, 3 fouls. He was a minus 28. He had only 15 points. James Harden had 9 points. Harden went 3 for 11, 1 for 5 from 3. Embiid and Harden, who are your 2 best players, they are the leaders of this team. They combined to go 8 for 29 and 24 points. Embiid and Harden together got outscored by Jaylen Brown. Now, Jaylen Brown was the best player in Game 6 for either team. He's been a monster at these playoffs. And, you know, Tatum was cold to start this series, and Brown kept him in the series, got them the wins. Now Tatum, he shows up here, Game 7, and the Sixers win this one, 112-88, and there's a lot of questions now, man. There's a lot of questions. A lot of people are saying the process is dead. You know, the Sixers have been building this for 10 years now. 10 years. They have spent a decade building this roster. With Doc Rivers overseeing this now, and it hasn't worked. I'm going to read some takes that I've seen across social media. Here's one. Someone said, what hurts the most is realizing we went through the last 10 years just to go from a perennial first round exit to a perennial second round exit. There's just nowhere left for the team to go anymore. A lot of people saying blow it up, blow it up. This person says build around Maxey. We were up 83-81 with 5 minutes left. I think they're talking about Game 6 there. And this is the best post I've seen about this person on Twitter. They said this era of the franchise will be defined by what ifs. What if Hinkie wasn't forced out? What if Colangelo didn't tweet like crazy and actually tried to run a basketball team? What if Kawhi didn't hit the shot? What if we chose Jimmy over Ben, Tobias, and Brett Brown? What if Ben learned how to shoot a 3? What if Fultz wasn't injured? What if we didn't trade Mikal Bridges? What if the person we traded Mikal Bridges for didn't almost die of an allergy? What if we didn't hire Doc? What if Ben doesn't go 38% from the free throw line? What if Joel doesn't get his face broken? What if we kept a reliable backup big? What if Joel didn't tear his LCL? Coulda, woulda, shoulda. That's what they said. I think that's very poignant. And honestly, this was supposed to be a statement game from Joel Embiid, and I think he made the wrong statement. And then he came out after the fact and he said, me and James, we can't win alone. That's why basketball is played 5-on-5. We need everybody to find ways to be better. I think that if it was like me and James can't win alone, him and James, as I said, combined to go 8 for 29. They weren't doing anything. Him and James were outscored by Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris, who most people think is one of the worst contracts in the league. He outscored the MVP and the former MVP. And the wild thing is, Embiid was terrified to go into the paint. He's big, he's dominant in the paint. And the Celtics have Al Horford playing center. Al Horford's a good player, but he's not a big body in the paint. Like, you can bang on Al Horford a bit, especially if you're Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid just didn't do it. Embiid refused to go bang down low against Al Horford, and I think if he would have done that, he would have been very successful, but he just refused. 0 for 4 from 3. But yeah, this is an awful quote from Embiid. Just, me and James can't win alone. Like, bruh, like, what are you even talking about? That's like zero accountability. Zero accountability. That's, I do think, though, this might be the end for the Sixers team. I think Doc Rivers gotta go. Tobias Harris gotta go. Keep Maxey. I don't think Maxey's like ever gonna be an elite point guard, but I think he's good enough to be a starting point guard, maybe a good 6-man. I like Maxey. Harden, he's gonna go back to Houston. We've been talking about all season. It's an open secret. Harden's gonna go back to Houston. Maybe you keep Embiid built around him, but I would not be shocked to see them trade Embiid for a haul. Maybe trade Embiid for the number 1 pick, bring in Wembanyama. Maybe somebody goes for that. Probably not. Maybe get number 2 pick, bring in Scoot. A lot of people have been talking about Embiid for Portland. Trade Sharp, Simons a pick. A lot of picks by Sharp, Simons this year's lottery pick, plus the next 2-3 years of picks for Embiid. But I think Dame would like that. Personally, I don't like that, especially if Portland gets a top 3 pick. If the pick's at 5-6, maybe I consider it, but I don't want to give up Sharp for Embiid, especially because Embiid is now kind of has, his fault or not, he kind of has staked a reputation as a playoff joker. He still doesn't know what to do out of the double team. Speaking of somebody who's the star player for their team, does not know what to do out of the double team, and know what that looks like and how frustrating it can be. Alright, I think I'm done talking about this series. I'm gonna move on to the Nuggets-Phoenix series. Alright, Suns Nuggets. The most interesting part of this series to me is the Game 6. Because honestly, this was super back and forth, and I thought this was gonna be a really good series. I thought this was gonna go 7. I did have Nuggets winning, but I thought this was gonna be the best series, the most competitive series. Both these series in the West were pretty good, but this one I really thought was gonna be great. KD versus Jokic, Booker, CP, and that it was delivering. The teams won the games they're supposed to win. Nuggets took advantage of their home court advantage with the first two. Suns win the next two in Phoenix. You go back to Denver, the Nuggets win. You go to Phoenix. Maybe Phoenix gets the win here. We go back to Denver for 7. The most interesting part of this series is what happens in Game 6. That's what everybody's going to be talking about. And it's flashbacks. It is flashbacks to the series against the Mavericks. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with the Suns team. But it's the same thing we saw against the Mavericks. They get absolutely hammered and blown out in Game 6. And the team is getting booed at home. Just like, again, the series against the Mavericks. First quarter of Game 6, 44-26 Denver. Then you go 37-25 Denver in the second quarter. So you go into the half with Denver up 81-51. Yep, 30. At that point, it's basically already over. And it wasn't even one really individual player going off for the Nuggets. It was a team effort. Jokic 32, Murray 26, Caldwell Pope 21. It's 3 dudes there. Booker only had 12. He was a minus 27. Booker goes 4 for 13. KD, he's doing his thing. He's trying campaign. He's trying 31 points. It's just, Chris Paul's hurt again. Ayton, he's out. They're injured. Not that Ayton was doing much. Anyway, the Suns, they're beat up. But I don't know. I think that the Suns team, and this is going to go back to what I was talking about with the New York Knicks. I was talking about a lot of Knicks fans, the rumors circulating, trying to trade Julius Randle to bring Karl Anthony Towns. I'm trying to think if any of these big blockbuster win-now trades have worked out. Because the Suns made that huge trade, giving away all of their future to bring in Kevin Durant. They trade Mikal Bridges, who looks like he's going to be a superstar. And you have KD, who's 35 years old now. Let me see his contract. I want to make sure I get the years right on his contract. Kevin Durant, 4 years, $194 million contract, $189 guaranteed. So he's 34 right now. And the Suns have him for the next 3 years, so 35, 36, 37. The Suns are going to be paying a 37-year-old Kevin Durant $53 million a year. A 36-year-old Kevin Durant, $50 million. Kevin Durant's a great player, don't get me wrong, but he's old. Father Time is undefeated. He has been looking older in this playoffs. He still looks amazing, don't get me wrong, but he's looking older, slower in these playoffs. That is only going to become more noticeable as the years go on, and they gave up their entire future to get him in a win-now move. And my question is, have any of these moves worked for the team trading for the one-star player? I do not include the Kawhi Leonard trade in this, because Kawhi Leonard wanted out. He did not have a big contract. He did not have a lot of years. And the Raptors knew that he was a rental, so they did not have to give up as much. Look at the Rudy Gobert trade. Now the Kevin Durant trade. others. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sure there's others. I guess the original Brooklyn Nets Celtics trade from a few years ago now. It feels like these moves don't work for the team trying to make the win now move. It feels like somebody else always wins. And I don't know what this team's gonna do. They have Chris Paul. I think they still have Chris Paul. They do. Chris Paul's $15.8 million guaranteed till June 28th. They give him $30.8 million guaranteed or drop him. I think they can stretch him. Yeah, I don't know. Are they gonna be able to get rid of Chris Paul? Trade him for like Rozier or something? I don't know. They fired Monty Williams. I think didn't Monty Williams just win Coach of the Year or something? That wasn't this year, was it? Because this year it was the Kings. But last year wasn't it Monty? Yeah, Monty won it last year. And now he's fired. And apparently the Suns are looking at Mike Budenholzer, Nick Nurse, and Tyronn Lue. They want to make a deal to bring in Tyronn Lue from the Clippers. But another interesting thing that's happened, and people were kind of speculating this is the reason KD was brought in the first place. This is the reason the trade was made. And now it's kind of semi-official, is that Matt Ishbia, I believe is the owner. Is he the owner or the president? Let's see, Matt Ishbia. American billionaire, CEO and chairman of mortgage lender, majority owner of the Phoenix Suns, yeah. So Matt Ishbia is calling the shots in Phoenix. It says that the general manager, James Jones, his role has been diminished. This is a Matt Ishbia production right now. So, that's very interesting. You basically have the owner running the team, which, having an active owner isn't always the best thing. I think Monty Williams definitely needed to go, but owner, GM, hardly. I mean, look at Jerry Jones. Like, yeah, you go make your changes, bring in your GMs, but you're an owner, you don't know basketball. Like, that's kind of shocking, but we'll see what happens with the Suns. That game 6, though, this is back-to-back years now where in an elimination game, they just can't. They didn't keep it competitive in their last 2 elimination games. But it's interesting because you look at postseason stats. Devin Booker leads all players in points per game. Kevin Durant is 7th. Devin Booker scoring 33.7 points per game. And Jokic is down at 4. The next best player is at 11 for Denver. The injuries got to him bit for sure. I mean, having Ayton be out, that's going to hurt. Chris Paul at this point in his career, he's not going to be a huge difference maker. He's basically there for his playmaking at this point. Campaign, probably a better option at this point, especially starting, but, Ayton maybe would have kept this a little bit closer, but let's not act like his effort hasn't been questionable. There's obviously some tension between him and the team after the whole contract situation last season. And he was getting outworked by Jokic. I mean, obviously that rebound video was, shocking. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Phoenix goes from here. I think they're in a very interesting spot. They have KD and Booker going is they're sealing the second round right now. KD's gonna be getting older. He's not gonna be as effective on defense as he gets older. Gonna become more of just a jump shooter, which we need a really good jump shooter. Booker. The leadership there. You guys need a really good leader. Chris Paul was that leader. I think KD, Booker, Ayton, neither of those guys are like the guy. Okay, I mean, KD, when I say the guy, they can be the best player on a team, but I feel like none of them want to be the leader of the team, if that makes sense. Like, none of them would wear like the captaincy if this was hockey. They would be like the best player, like the best scorer, whatever, but I don't know. But I'm going to pull up some stats for the Lakers-Warriors series, and we'll finish it off there. I predicted Lakers here. I got some pushback from that. A lot of people thought Warriors would take this, and I was feeling super confident Lakers were going to win it. Starting off the series, they take the 3 of the first 4, go up 3-1. That game 2 was dicey for them, but they were pretty dominant games. Game 3 was super dominant for the Lakers. Games 1 and 4 were pretty close, super close game 4. But then game 5, AD goes down hard. AD goes down super hard. Has to get a wheelchair out of the arena. People are talking about concussions. Don't know how long he's gonna be out. And AD has been the X factor for the Lakers. All these playoffs, he's been their best player. Obviously, game 4, the big story of that game 4 is Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker coming in clutch at the end of the game there. Austin Reeves has been, he's been a breakout player all season for the Lakers, but he's been going off these playoffs as well. Was it like game 2? Or like a game 2? Was it game 2 that he really went off? No, game 2 he only had 7. What was that really good game by Reeves? Was that one? No. Maybe that was the last series. I'm trying to... He had one just monster game, but it might have been against the Timberwolves. Yeah, because game 4 was Lonnie Walker that saved them. I'll say the Lakers is super close. Reeves went off in that game too, though. Reeves had 21. But anyway, Walker went off that game. And he'd have those games from role players. I think he'd have. I saw this, I forget who it was, but there's some coach or analyst or something, he called it the 4-game rule. To winning a series, he calls it the 4-game rule. Or the 2-1-1 rule or something, but it equals 4. And like I said, that coach or analyst, I can't remember, I saw it a few days ago, but he said you have to have 2 games where your best players on the team win you the game. So that would be LeBron, AD, in the case of the Lakers, right? You have to have 2 games where the best players on your team win you the game. You have to have 1 game where the second or third best player on your team wins you a game. So for the Lakers, that's what maybe, I think that's maybe what D'Lo, and then you have to have 1 game. And this is where the 4 comes from, where one of your role players or bench players wins you the game, and that's how you win a series. 2 games where your stars win it. 1 game where your like 3rd, 4th option wins it, and 1 game where a random bench player or role player wins it for you. And game 4 was that bench role player winning it in Lonnie Walker. But anyway, back to game 5. Like I said, AD goes down hard and the Warriors steamrolled the Lakers, and I was like, they just took it 3-2. Are they gonna come back from down 3-1 like the Cavs did against them back in 2016? And I was thinking, AD, he might be out the rest of this series, maybe the rest of the playoffs. But then AD comes back for Game 6. And a lot of people were shocked, and the Lakers dominant in Game 6. AD, they kind of had him in a limited offensive role. But defensively, AD was a beast in that game, 20 total rebounds. He only took 9 shots, didn't shoot all from beyond the arc, 17 points. He wasn't the main scorer. Reeves at 23, D'Lo 19, LeBron 30. But 20 boards for AD. Like I said, a little bit limited, but he was, like I said, he's been the X factor for the Lakers, I think. And I said at the beginning of these playoffs, as goes Anthony Davis, so goes the Lakers. But, the Warriors, how many turnovers did Draymond have? 2. I think he had one real bad one. That might have been, actually I think that was, Draymond's real bad turnover was, I think, Game 4, where the Warriors were in a position to win in the 4th, and Draymond turned it over. Yeah, Draymond had 5 turnovers in Game 4. Golden State could have easily won Game 4. Draymond had 5 turnovers. Wiggins at 3. Game 6, Steph had 6 turnovers, which is kind of uncharacteristic for him. Klay Thompson is missing wide open shots in Game 6. But yeah, I think Draymond's probably off that team. And one person I want to shout out though is Kevon Looney. That dude I feel like is super underrated. People do not talk about him as an impactful center, one of the better centers in this league, but I feel like Kevon Looney is super central to the Warriors' success. That dude is, I feel like that dude's just doing everything out there. Let me find his stats. Let me go. I just need to find Looney here. He's not gonna have stats that jump off the page or anything. Where's GSW? Golden State Warriors, Kevon Looney. In 25 minutes, he gets 6.5 points, 13 boards, 3 assists, half a block, half a steal, only 1 turnover a game. He's not fouling that much. I think Looney is super underrated on this team. I mean, Draymond, Steph, Klay, those are the guys everybody knows, and Draymond did lead the team in assists. A lot of the playmaking comes off of Draymond in his screen setting and stuff, but I don't know. Some people are saying this is the end of the Warriors dynasty, this era of the Warriors. You'll have to let me know what you think. I'm kind of undecided at this point. I think this offseason determines it. But I think it's very possible. I mean, they're all getting old at this point. Not everybody has longevity. LeBron James does. Steph Curry is still Steph, but Klay is taking a step back. Draymond's taking a step back. But then you have guys like Wiggins who've taken a step up. Looney, who I just mentioned. You have Poole, who's probably one of the worst contracts in the league. I thought that was a mistake for them, but I don't know. Do you think the Warriors dynasty is over? I think it might be. Alright, talking now about our matchups, we have LA, Denver, Miami, Boston. LA, Denver is super hard for me to predict. My brain tells me Denver. My heart tells me LA. Let me look up something real quick. AD versus Jokic stats. AD versus Jokic head to head. This is what I need to see. Nikola Jokic has averaged 18.6 points, 9.7 rebounds and 5.3 assists in 20 games versus Anthony Davis in his career. Alright, now let's go Anthony Davis versus Jokic. Head to head, let's see it in reverse. Anthony Davis has averaged 25.6 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 2.6 assists in 20 games versus Nikola Jokic in his career. So, AD winning the points battle by nearly 10. Jokic is not known for his defense. Jokic winning the rebound battle by 1. And Jokic way winning that assist battle, but I honestly think this entire series hinges on who wins the battle between AD and Jokic on a game-to-game basis. I really, really do. I think this could go either way. But here's the thing. You have the Lakers and the Celtics, who are both on 11 rings, 11 championships, and we have a potential to see them go against each other in the playoffs again. And that'd probably be like we're back in the Magic Bird era. Have they met in the playoffs since then? Did they meet in the playoffs during the Kobe era? Did they? Celtics finals. When was the last time they met in the finals? No. That's the last Lakers-Celtics final was the 2010 NBA Finals. Okay, that was Kobe. Okay, but before then it would have been Magic versus Bird. Listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist about this stuff, but the NBA is gonna want LA Boston. My brain tells me Denver wins and Boston wins. My heart tells me LA wins and Boston wins, but here's the thing, if you're a Heat fan, I've said they're going to lose every single series and they've won them both. So for the sake of my Heat fans out there, I'm going to pick them to lose again, and you should be happy about that because it's like a reverse jinx. Yeah, my brain tells me Denver, Boston. My heart tells me Los Angeles versus Boston in our final. But that is the second round. That's my predictions for the next round. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought about the second round of the playoffs, what you're expecting for the conference finals. I'd love to hear any and all feedback in the comments down below. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up. Subscribe for more content just like this almost every single day.